Welcome back, travelers. We're back with a guide for Clair Obscur Expedition 33. If you've just started your journey, or if you haven't played the game yet but are planning to, then you absolutely can't miss these tips and tricks I'm about to share with you. They'll change the beginning of your entire adventure, and will bring you some long-term benefits. These tips are things I wish I'd known before I started. Now, if you're ready, let's begin, travelers. PICTOS and LUMINA. How do they work? As you may have guessed, there are in-game accessories called PICTOS. These give you a boost to certain stats and a passive advantage. And each member of your team can equip up to 3 of these PICTOS. Be careful, because once you win 4 battles with 1 or more PICTOS equipped, you'll unlock their LUMINA. This is very important to understand, because each character has a certain number of LUMINA points, which will increase automatically as they level up. Alternatively, you can use a Color of LUMINA item, once used, will grant 1 additional LUMINA point to the character of your choice. There's no limit to a character's LUMINA points, but each LUMINA has a cost to equip, so once you've used all your points, you can't equip anymore. Another point to note, you can equip as many LUMINAs as you want, as there's no limit to the number of LUMINAs you can equip. You can use as many as you like and create any combo you like. LUMINAs can also be used simultaneously on other characters, but you obviously can't do the same with PICTOS, as once equipped. They can only be used by one character. To conclude, based on my experience, I recommend the following this. Every time you obtain a new PICTO, make sure one of your party members equips it, then win all 4 battles. This will unlock that PICTO's LUMINA, giving you the option to equip it as a LUMINA on all your team members, providing a greater advantage since, instead of giving an advantage to just one character, you have the opportunity to give an advantage to all 3 of your team members. Of course, if you have the necessary amount of LUMINA points. Parry or dodge? What are the differences? Your question will be, but which of the 2 defense mechanics is better in Clair Obscur Expedition 33? There's no doubt about which is better. Parrying is definitely the best defense, because if you manage to completely parry certain attacks, you'll gain 1 AP for each parry, and your character will automatically perform a counterattack. Using counterattacks can be advantageous, because the damage dealt by counterattacks can be increased through the active or passive use of certain PICTOS. For example, Augmented Counter increases counterattack damage by 25% at level 1, 50% at level 2, and 75% at level 3. Parrying, however, can be tricky, because the parry window is short and you'll likely miss it. We're talking very few frames, so if you want your party members to stay alive, then focus on dodging. If you're relying on dodging to defend yourself from enemy attacks, don't worry. There are several PICTOS and LUMINAs you can equip to gain significant advantages when you successfully dodge. For example, Dodger grants you 1 AP with a perfect dodge, but only once per turn. There are others PICTOS you can use in combos, like Empowering Dodge, which increases damage by 5% for each consecutive successful dodge and can stack up to 10 times. So if you're having trouble with the parry window, defend yourself in another way. Equip PICTOS or LUMINAs that restore AP when dodging, and use them in combos with other PICTOS that boost your attack or other character stats every time you dodge. Take advantage of the break status. This is your secret weapon. Break is a status effect that can turn the tide of most battles. As you reduce an enemy's health bar, you'll slowly fill a gold bar below their health bar. When it's full, you can inflict Break, a status effect that reduces the enemy's defense by 20% and prevents them from attacking for an entire turn. It's the most powerful status effect, but only some attacks can actually inflict Break. For example, Gustav's skill Overcharge says Can Break and has a small gold diamond next to its name. This means that if you use this attack on an enemy with a full break bar, they'll inflict the break status effect. However, other abilities may require a little more effort than simply using it on an enemy. Loon's Mayhem ability is a good example as it can break, but only if you consume 4 spots during use. Break isn't a very common status effect, as most enemies won't survive your attacks long enough for you to fill their entire break gauge, let alone survive the attack that will ultimately destroy them. This is more of an advantage you'll use against bosses. Since these are much longer battles, you'll benefit greatly from the break. Fight the Merchant. He's always hitting something. Each merchant has one or more unique hidden items. To discover which ones they are, you must first defeat them. Once defeated, you'll convince them to sell you the hidden items as well. Remember that to face them, you'll have to choose a party member and defeat them in one-on-one combat. It's worth doing this every time you encounter them, as these items are unique and often quite powerful. The first merchant you meet, for example, will sell you a PICTO that applies the Helpless debuff, which increases the damage you deal to an enemy hit by 25%. Paint cage are always worth it. The paint cages, they're essentially glowing lockable chests. They may seem useless, but they actually hide surprises. To get the reward hidden inside, these chests require you to find and shoot 3 hidden locks within the level where you spot them. Getting that loot, however, is always worth it, because the rewards you can get include items like chroma catalysts or weapons. Usually, the 3 locks connected to the chest aren't always in obvious locations, and often they won't be easy to spot, but in my in-game experience, they're always relatively close to the paint cage, so just wander around. If you can't find a lock, it's obviously more hidden than the others, try breaking something, such as nearby crates or looking high up on the walls. The hidden ones are often behind other objects. Metalum weapon at start game. It will change your life. This might be a spoiler, but getting this weapon early in the game will completely change how you use Mael. Getting this weapon right away is very important, as it means you'll be able to create and aim to complete the most powerful builds as quickly as possible, not only for this character, but also for the most powerful builds in the entire world of Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Mael is the best DPS in the game, and being able to take advantage of her enormous damage early on will be a significant advantage for you, especially because you'll be able to cause break much more often, thus allowing you to defeat powerful enemies. I assure you, you wouldn't be able to do so without this weapon, at least for the first few hours. Of course, once you reach a certain level, with the skills unlocked, anything will be possible. Simply put, Metalum will make your life much easier. You might be wondering why. It's simple, because this weapon allows you to start in Virtuo's stance from the first turn, which gives Mael 200% more damage. To obtain this weapon early in the game, you must progress through Act 1 until you reach the tournament held in the Gestural Arena. Then select Mael to fight in all the matches of the tournament, including the final battle. If you win, you'll automatically receive the Metalum. Choosing a different character, you can obtain the Metalum later, but it's very complicated and will take some time. Travelers, these were my 5 tips, plus a bonus. I hope this helps and that these tips were helpful. I personally wish I'd known them when I started my run. For now, I'll say goodbye and see you in the next video. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments which part of the game you'd like to explore first.
Don't forget to subscribe.